Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Jyotsna, pursuing my BE Computer Science from Sri Venkateshwara College of Engineering. So today's topic is the basics of solid waste management towards sustainable development. Table of contents. Difference between solid waste management and sustainable development. Current state of waste management. Waste hierarchy. The key to sustainable development. Solid waste management strategy. Other issues related to solid waste management. First, let us know what is the difference between solid waste management and sustainable development. Solid waste management is the process of controlling and reducing the volume and toxicity of solid waste through the proper collection, treatment and disposal. Sustainability is environmentalism that seeks to use natural resources while minimizing negative impact on the environment. There are a few key differences between solid waste management and sustainability. Solid waste management is reactive. It reacts to increases in waste production. Sustainability is proactive. It looks for ways to reduce or avoid waste in the first place. Solid waste management can be unsustainable if it leads to increased pollution or land degradation. Sustainability can be sustainable if it leads to decreased pollution or improved land quality. Despite these differences, there are many ways in which solid waste management and sustainability can work together to create better future for us. So this is the flow chart of waste management. Next is what is the current state of waste management. Solid waste management is a process that deals with the collection, transportation and disposal of solid waste. The current state of waste management can be divided into two categories: municipal solid waste and hazardous waste. Municipal solid waste refers to everyday trash that is collected by municipalities. Hazardous waste refers to any material that possesses a health or environmental hazard. Current state of municipal solid waste management can be summarized as follows. Around 71% of municipal solid waste is recycled or composted. Urban India produces about 42 million tons of municipal solid waste annually. The average American produces around 245 pounds of municipal solid waste per year. And the United States has been recycling and composting its municipal solid waste for around 50 years. Now, let us know the current state of hazardous waste management. That is, hazardous materials make up to about 1% of global emissions, but they cause up to 25% of environmental damage. Hazardous materials are often left out of the recycling process because they are difficult to extract or break down. Hazardous materials are often shipped to landfills instead of being properly disposed of. There has been an increase in the number of hazardous material incidents in the recent years. Next is waste hierarchy. Solid waste management is one of the most important issues in the sustainable development. It is important to remember that not all waste is equal and that different types of waste have specific disposal requirements. The waste hierarchy is a framework that helps us understand this. The hierarchy starts with prevention and moves on to reducing, recycling, and finally disposing of waste. Here are few tips for using the waste hierarchy in your own life. Prevention. Try to avoid creating waste in the first place. If you have to create it, try to do it as minimal as possible. For example, use reusable shopping bags instead of disposable ones, recycle when possible, and compost when you can't recycle. Reduce. Whenever possible, try to reduce the amount of waste you produce. This means recycling more materials, using fewer products, and composting if you can. Recycle. If you can't reduce the amount of waste you produce, at least try to recycle as much as possible. This includes the things like recycled paper products and plastics used in packing. etc. Dispose of properly. Once you have reduced or recycled the waste that feels still left over, it's time to dispose of it properly. So this is waste hierarchy pyramid. This is how it looks. Next topic is the key to sustainable development. Solid waste management is a growing problem around the world. The size of the problem and the lack of sustainable solutions is causing pollution, energy shortages, and health problems. The key to sustainable development is finding ways to reduce the amount of solid waste that is produced. This can be done by changing how people use resources, encouraging recycling and composting, or developing new technologies. There are different ways to reduce the amount of solid waste that is produced. Some options include reducing consumption and recycling. Reducing consumption. One way to reduce consumption is to encourage people to use less material. For example, people can reduce how much they buy or how often they throw away items. Recycling. Another way to reduce the amount of solid waste produced is by recycling. This means breaking down materials into their component parts so that they can be used again. For example, plastics can be melted down and made into new products, while paper can be made into new documents or cardboard boxes. Why is there a need for a solid waste management strategy? Solid waste management is an essential part of sustainable development. Waste prevention and recycling are critical to limiting environmental impact and reducing the need for costly and dangerous disposal methods. What are some benefits of a solid waste management strategy? Sustainable solid waste management can save municipalities money, reduce greenhouse gas emissions, improve public health, and create jobs. It can also help communities meet their legal obligations to protect water resources and improve air quality. How can municipalities implement a solid waste management strategy? Municipalities can work with experts to develop a solid waste management plan that meets their specific needs. They can also work with other government agencies and non-profit organizations to promote sustainable practices. So now let's discuss about some other issues related to solid waste management. In developed countries like United States, it is usually taken for granted that people will simply go to grocery store or buy a new bag when the old one gets full. Not only is this unsustainable, it is also incredibly inefficient. When you factor in the amount of resources that are used to produce and transport garbage, it becomes clear that we should be doing everything we can to find more sustainable ways to deal with our garbage. One popular way to do this is to recycle as much of our trash as possible. Recycling not only reduces the amount of waste that needs to be dealt with, but it also helps creating jobs in the recycling industry. Another way to reduce the amount of waste that is produced is to refuse disposal products whenever possible. This is not only helps reduce the amount of plastic that ends up in landfills, but it can also save your money in the long run. And finally, thank you for watching this video. Please do like it and share it with your friends and family.